I'm not going to be able to get my hand out of the way, am I? Man, I'm really unprepared right now. I guess I messed around with some settings and completely forgot to change them. But, okay, I'm here. Hi, good evening, whatever time it is. Afternoon, evening, for you guys. It's been a while. I've been gone for quite a while, it feels like. Just been too busy with a bunch of other things. Studying and all that fun stuff. But, here I am, I'm back. And, yeah, what I'm going to do today is I had a little bit of free time, I had a little bit of energy, so I figured I was going to go ahead and stream a little bit. So, today's goal, gosh, it looks like the last time I actually streamed was March 2nd, which blows my mind. But in the meantime, I had an amazing opportunity, an amazing commission, that I was able to do, and had a lot of fun doing it. And it's been posted a little bit on the channel, but in the meantime, I've been working on this lad right here. He's a new model that I found. I saw the original version of this model released with the rest of the Dark Angels. This is supposed to be Belial. And I love the model so much, I decided I wanted to do something that wasn't Belial with it. So he is becoming an Imperial Fists Terminator captain, and I'm probably going to make him the chapter master. Now, I did just notice that I gave him his regular power sword sheath, but he is most definitely using the Teeth of Terra, or Storm's Teeth, or whatever it's called. I have completely forgotten. But that being said, I'm nearing completion on him. I need to finish painting the interior of his cape so that it's this kind of off-white color, and I need to finish painting the exterior of his cape, because while this flat red does look pretty darn good, it's not where I want to finish with him. Otherwise, the rest of him turned out really nice. I'm actually pretty impressed, because when I was working on him yesterday and the day before, I wasn't particularly happy with how he was turning out. So I gotta say I'm much happier with how he looks now. That being said, I'm gonna put him down. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some colors. Based on this, it looks like he's gonna need Vallejo Buff, which is a color I use quite a bit. He's probably going to need a little bit of Vallejo Gold Brown, which is another color that I use, and potentially some more red and black to go back over the shaded areas. Though I suppose I'll see how I want to do that later. What I'm going to go ahead and do right now, just because it's easiest, is... Hey, good evening, Red. How's it going? So yeah, I haven't been on much, but I have been incredibly busy and just haven't really had the energy to stream. But I'm here now. What did I just hit? Okay, I hit the lamp. So what I'm going to do right now, what I'm working on right now, is a custom character. I took the Dark Angels Belial model that came out in this, you know, the incredibly awesome Terminator armor that he was wearing. And you've been busy painting all day? Well, that's good to hear. Hope you've been having fun with it. But I went ahead and turned him into an Imperial Fist. So I'm pretty happy with how he's looking. I'm pretty happy with how he's turning out. And now I just need to finish him up, do some of the finishing touches. So he just needs to get him some interior lining on this cloak done. That's kind of my plan right now. Because unfortunately, this paint does not go on very consistently. So it's going to need multiple layers. So what have you been painting? If you've been working on it all day? Yeah, that's looking a lot better. This was very watered down when I put it on earlier. this guy was kind of a trial. I really probably should have done him in sub-assemblies because he's got so many parts kind of crisscrossing over each other that it's made getting some of the nooks and crannies difficult. Been trying to get the Bears chapter done. Let's see. Oh, speaking of, I had a little bit of extra money from a commission that I did, and so I bought some more resin. So if you have anything you want me to print and send off to you, I have that ability again. I did have some things I wanted to print, but nothing of incredible urgency or importance, because I started looking around and realized an ad break. Well, damn. I wish it would have told me about that. Eh. I forgot I changed the ad breaks. No, screw that. I don't like the ad breaks. I'm gonna have to change that. Yeah, I completely forgot. I changed the settings so that it had mid-roll ads. I already hate it, so I'm definitely changing those back between this. Okay, fantastic. I completely forgot I did that. I was fuddling around with the settings like a couple weeks ago and turned it to mid-rolls. And I don't really know why, but I guess I was just messing around with it, and I'm definitely changing that because that's friggin' miserable. I'm in mid-conversation and I get interrupted because of the algorithm. Because money, I guess. But yeah, sorry about that. You were saying? Yep, entirely my fault. I accept full responsibility and we'll address that in the future. Because that sucked. Not only that, but my paintbrush is wandering. I think I accidentally moved, when I moved everything around a little while ago, it messed with my camera orientation. And so, of course, it's causing my hand to wander a bit. Yeah, I really should have went ahead and painted him in sub-assemblies. That's obnoxious. But as I was trying to say, I got some resin because of I had some extra money due to a commission. So that means if you need me to print you anything, the resources are there, and I can now do so. Because I remember you saying closer to the beginning of the month that you had something lined up that you wanted me to print for you, but at the time I was running low on resin. And I told you I would get back to you. Only minis I'm after now are the old world dwarves, but probably something will catch my eye. Yeah, I saw those, and it's a big temptation to get into old world, especially because of the dwarves and the orcs army boxes. That's just too delicious to not want. Never played old world, but the army boxes look great. Hey, how's it going? Stoneless B, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. I'm trying something new with my camera setting, so I'm probably going to start drifting this way. Please let me know if I do. I also accidentally put on mid-roll ads, so I'm sorry for that curse. But yeah, I'm Ben Paints. I'm just going through and being a little small-time painter, having fun with it, and just kind of hanging out and answering any questions anyone might have about painting. Still need to paint up your Bretonians. Did you end up buying those when the new army boxes came out for the Bretonians? I forget. Okay. I hate painting with this bone color because it always goes on so streaky and it's so hard to control the moisture for. And so I end up getting this really splotchy look, especially on the inside of these capes, which I probably should have done before doing anything else. But you know what? It's far too late now to complain about it. So I'm just going to do the best I can with the resources available. But my hope... Small-time painter? I think you mean miniature painter. Yeah, that too. I paint small things, and I do it to a small number of people. Or to a small audience. That's the technical name for it. Okay. But yeah, how are you? How has your evening been, or whatever your time zone is? Yeah, I got the army set. Mate printed me out some trebuchets and the damsel mounted and on foot. Very cool. Yeah, Old World is really tempting to get into. I'm still kind of stuck in the... Oh, come on, I can do this. I'm still stuck in the 40k world, so... Sigmar, Old World, all that stuff is just like... Man, I wish I could, but money and time, right? Yeah, this is a converted Belial. He's supposed to be the Dark Angel Terminator captain, but like the reprint of him, the remake of him. But I just like the model so much, I was like, do I want to paint Belial? Or do I want to make a new chapter master for my Imperial fists? Because they keep dying off every 2 seconds in the lore anyway. So that's what I went with. And that's what I'm doing right now, is just going through and finishing this guy up. Okay. And my hope is, when I first started, I realized there was just a ridiculous amount of red on this miniature because of the cloak and the robe. 3D printing some of the Rogue Trader Kill Team proxies, but the Old World does look really interesting. The Rogue Trader ones. I know... No, I'm thinking of the Voidsmen, right? Last year or the year before, they released the Voidsmen at Arms, which were kind of like Militarum characters, if I recall properly, because I had a colleague's spouse send me those files and print them off. Hey Arya, how's it going? You went to a games day at Element Games and played the first game. I think the rules are a lot easier than 40k. I've been hearing that. That's kind of been a thing that I've noticed with 40k, is that people are starting to realize that the rule set, even in its stripped down form, are still far more cumbersome than they need to be. Euclidean Star Striders. Okay, those aren't the ones I'm thinking of, but I know what you're talking about. But yeah, those are neat models. But yeah, how's it going, Arya? How are you doing? I haven't really had the energy to go online and stream, but I finally have a free moment, so that's what I'm doing right now. 10th edition is a big improvement over 8th. You didn't play enough of 9th to make a comparison. Yeah, 9th just had way too many everything. I'm basically done with them. I passed my second certification test, and now I am officially CompTIA A+ certified. Yeah, I did a better job on the second test than I did on the first test, even though I thought I was going to do considerably worse because I felt like the knowledge base wasn't there. So that was a pleasant surprise. Thank you. My biggest issue right now is that no jobs are really hiring. I'm in like a weird place where, okay, I have no idea how to get this guy. There we go. There aren't very many entry-level IT positions to draw from and try and get hired to. So I've applied to over 30 jobs in the past like 15-20 days, and I've heard back from 3 of them. 2 of them just outright rejected me, and one of them turned out to be like an insurance salesman job, which I don't want to denigrate people who sell insurance, but it's like, I'm trying to get into IT. I also got accepted for a position to be like a test scorer. Job market is insane from my experience. It's so hard to even get a call back. Yeah, well, I mean, when they have like 1 million people submitting, then they can just have their pick of the litter, I guess. Which doesn't feel right for the nobody wants to work anymore crowd. But yeah, I had a guaranteed job with Pearson Publishing for their online scoring, and I even like did the little test they had, and they gave me the position, and they were like, you need to get these documents signed and submitted so we can get you training, and you need to do it within this like 24-hour period after you get this code. And so I was going to do that day after getting some other chores done, and I get home and I find that they've rescinded the offer because someone filled it out quicker than me, I guess, which sucked because I had gotten through signing all the legal documents and providing all this documentation otherwise. Good friend of mine who's older has been in coding since the very early days of the internet. He got laid off and has been looking for over a year for another job. We're all pretty sure his age is a factor, which is BS, but yeah, right? Why pay more for more experience when they can just hire someone cheaper? Stupid logic. By the way, I said it already, but I put on mid-roll ads as kind of like do I want to do this, and I forgot to take it off, so at some point we're probably going to get hit with mid-rolls, and if we do, I'm sorry. But yeah, this is the most recent guy I've been working on. I'm not sure if I really like how he's looking, because there are some areas that I feel are a little sloppy and I need to fix them. But this was Belial of the Dark Angels, and now he is a chapter master for the Imperial Fists. How do you paint so well so fast? What's the secret? Doing it every day for multiple hours. It really became a thing of being really obsessed with it and just obsessively doing it over and over again. I started watching, I got to a point with my painting where I was happy with it, and I was like, I can paint whole armies. And then I realized that I wanted to do some more stuff with it, because I started seeing these cool minis on like Reddit and on social media. And I was like, how are they doing this? How are they making it look so nice? And I started looking up videos on how to do things like non-metallic metal and how to blend better and all this other stuff, and I started following guys like Zumi Kito Miniatures and some of the other guys I've talked about before, Jose Da Vinci and Juan Hidalgo and that stuff, and watching them just gave me the motivation to try and mimic them. Your stuff looks nice, you think, but it takes forever? I think your stuff looks great, but I can definitely understand the frustration of it taking a long time to get there. I mean, at this point, I've probably painted 5 or 6 armies worth of miniatures, and then repainted. Like, I think I've told you, I'm actually on my 2nd iteration of my Imperial Fist army, and I've printed about 3,000 points for both of them. So yeah, one of the biggest things that helped me was realizing that I was just going to paint over anything that I got kind of screwy with. and that made me a lot less delicate with my painting. I don't know if that's going to help at all, but that was a big thing for me, was not being obsessive about painting in the lines because I knew I could paint over it. That's not good. Otherwise, I don't really know what to tell you. I kind of wish that I was a little better at streaming like the whole process start to finish, so that you guys could see what it looks like. I've mentioned it at some point, but I feel like I'm smacking into a wall. There's loads of room to take my abilities further, but that wall is blocking me. I think the best thing you can do for yourself is set a goal of one thing you want to get better at, and then look up how to do it, and then try it, and just know that it's going to look awful for a while until it doesn't. Because that was what happened to me. I got stuck on this wall of like, I can paint tabletop quality pretty okay, but I want my characters to look better than tabletop quality. And so I was like, how can I fix that? Well, I guess I got to learn how to blend. And my blending looked like dog water for a long time. And it was just doing it over and over and over again. And also, honestly, getting better brushes and getting better at moisture control, which I'm obviously failing at right now. Jesus, that looks terrible. But yeah, like this brush at this point is pretty shot. I'm using it for broad strokes. No, I think this one will do. This one's also kind of beat up, but it's a little bit better. Okay, that's still not dry, so it's just going to push the moisture around. But yeah, I don't really know what to tell you. It's really a lot of focus on one thing and getting better at the one thing. And something that did help a lot was looking at some YouTube shorts from people like the Painting Coach, and Midwinter Minis is pretty good about it because he makes everything really accessible. Something I love about the Painting Coach, one thing I need to do is sit around and paint more often. Yeah, that's a huge one. I've probably put at least 10 to 15 hours a week painting. That wouldn't surprise me, as I spend a lot of time painting. When I'm not hanging out with my wife or spending the limited amount of time I have with my friends, I'm basically painting. So this has become something of an obsession for me, because that's how I roll with things I really enjoy, is I hyperfixate on them. Oh gosh, that doesn't look very good. I don't know if you guys can see that at all, or if the camera's going crazy, but I just really hacked up on here. And this is actually a great example of what I was just talking about. I know I'm going to have to repaint some of this, but that's fine. The red is going to cover up the bone color pretty nicely. But that's really it. It's just a matter of, narrow down a specific technique you want to get better at, look up how to do it, and then find a model and practice on it. I threw it away, and I kind of wish I had taken pictures of it, but my first attempt at non-metallic metal was ugly. Okay, no, that back part still needs it. Like right now, I'm struggling a bit with the back part of his cloak under his sword arm, because I just can't seem to get an even coat back here. And I know my hand is kind of covering, because the camera angle's not great. And part of it's because I keep just trying to cover it frantically, which is just pushing the paint around. But I'm finally at a point where I can start layering details with a L'Oreal. Yeah, you've been working on that one for a while. Bugger that rope. Bugger that, nope. Non-metallic metal. Yeah, no, that was purely I want to learn how to do something stupid skill, and I'm still not very good at it, but I've been headbutting it. Like you can probably tell, but the banner on top of his head, that thing's non-metallic metal. I probably need to go a little brighter to make it really sell, because right now it kind of looks like stone, don't it? Unfortunately, the white just doesn't show up very well. I think I'm going to do that in a moment. We're going to mess with that white a little bit. But yeah, one of the things that helped me the most when trying to do some of those techniques is just knowing how much moisture needs to be in the brush, because I'm really bad about overloading the brush with water, and then it just spills everywhere and looks terrible. And slowly getting better at that has really helped with my how clean my painting looks. Okay. Let's see, we're gonna pull that in close. Okay, there's still too much moisture on this brush. After rinsing my brush, I dab it on a paper towel real quick. Me too. But then I put it in really wet paint, and then it ends up making everything worse again. I'm really bad about it. It's one thing that's taken me far too long to get better with. But I think something that really kickstarted my desire to improve like dramatically quickly is I found out that Maverick Paints basically started painting around the same time I did, though he had to because he went on disability because of a back injury while he was working as a firefighter. And his paint schemes and his detail just always blew my mind. I was like, how is he so good? He must be painting for forever. And then I find out, no, he's been painting about as long as I have. He's just had a whole ton of time for it because he's now on disability and can't really work. So he was able to spend all that time practicing and improving because it was kind of his escape from his physical shortcomings, his physical injuries. Yeah, like right now, you're kind of watching me. I don't know how well it's on camera. You're kind of watching me try and improve this non-metallic metal a little bit. And I'm honestly just kind of putting the brush where I think light would reflect. And I'm pretty bad about that, so it's just kind of getting enough mental reps that it becomes second nature. And you start kind of having that intrinsic feel. I guarantee you someone who's very skilled would look at my non-metallic metal and be like, your lighting doesn't make any sense. But it looks good enough for me. And that's all that matters. Also, Citadel brushes suck ass, man. I just opened this one up, and look at the curve it's already getting on its tip. Citadel brushes are dog water. Yeah, that's the tip curving. I mean, I have two more Winsor & Newton ones just kind of in the wings waiting, but I don't want to use them because they tend to have a really short lifespan when I use them too. And I think a lot of that is just because I'm really bad about how I treat them. Come on, come on, come on, come on. The synthetic ones are alright, but not with the price point either. That's fair. I need to get me some Rosemary & Company ones so I don't feel bad about using them. The Winsor & Newton ones are so expensive that I'm always terrified I'm going to ruin them, and so I never want to use them. You love your Rosemary & Company ones? You beat them up so much? Yeah, see, like, I wish I could do that, but the only brushes I own are either really cheap synthetic ones that are worthless, or these Citadel ones which basically suck after 3 brush strokes, or the Winsor & Newtons, which are $25 a piece. So I'm like in that weird position where I'm too afraid to use the nice ones, and I've got to make do with the garbage. There we go. They're still not shipping to the US because of that weird ban on Sable. I could have sworn I found something. Maybe it was just that I was on the website. I don't know. I know they're making a synthetic Sable now, and so I'm going to give that a try. Yeah, I don't think I can get the inside of the cloak much better while I'm on stream because I can't angle it properly. So what I think I'm going to do is just start working on the red part again. Okay. Gonna get some red on the palette. Can you guys not see the... There we go. And also... That's yellow. I need the yellow. Also some yellow. Come on, yellow. You can do it. A little bit of that golden yellow. And I don't need that one yet. I'm going to use the fat one because I need to fix up some of the stuff that I ruined by hitting it with the khaki. Now there's some really awful, ugly areas of khaki spillage. Okay. Let's see. By the way, if it gets... I think we have a little bit of time, but if it gets to the mid-roll ads or whatever, just let me know so I can stop talking. I know I'm not... no, where are you? There we go. I know I'm not talking an awful lot simply because I'm focusing, but I'd rather not try and carry on a conversation with people who can't hear me. I just undid that. So how is Fulgrim Transfigured coming along? Because I know you were working on assembling that mad lad. Or is that kind of taking a backseat to a L'Oreal? Okay, I think that'll be better. You have yet to wash and start assembling him. That's such an intimidating model. More kudos to you. Something I found kind of funny. I posted it in my Discord, but I found someone actually like did a 3D sculpt proxy of him and put it up on a website for download, and I found it. And so now I have a 3D proxy of Fulgrim Transfigured, or at least the STL of it. It's not as detailed as the real one, but it looks pretty darn good. So at some point, yeah, that one got me. That made me a little upsetty. But I'm eventually going to print him and paint him, I guess. But I'm also going to say I found someone else had put up. They actually took off of the sprue. They took the bits off the sprue, and then individually scanned each one, and then cleaned them up because the digital scans are always really rough of the lion. And the assembly instructions are just scans of his actual assembly instructions because it's basically the real model. So, I wasn't able to paint the other Lionel Johnson in the style I would have liked to. So, I'm going to eventually print and assemble this one, and then paint him how I want to. The client specifically asked for heavy metal style, so I had to follow that. And honestly, I'm not much of a fan, because while it is very detailed, it doesn't have like that heavy contrast I like. On the RNC, so we can no longer ship Series 33 Kolinsky Sable pointed rounds to the USA. And he pointed his hair until the next world meeting at Geneva. The van whack. I could have sworn like the Series 99 was an option I was looking at, and that's their other line. So I don't know. I'll have to give that a look. I do know that they also have a synthetic Sable line that was just recently done. So I'm going to have to give that one a look as well and see if that's going to be worth my time. But given all the things that the US allows through, that one's kind of funny to me. Oh, we got an incoming ad break. It's going to start in about a minute. So once it hits about 10 seconds, I'm probably not going to do much talking and whatnot. I think you can get some, or especially for metallics, you can probably just use the ones you get from Michaels, can't you? I don't know. I use beat up Citadel brushes for metallics, to be honest. Because metallics are going to ruin your brush regardless, so I'm not spending any money on them. But then again, I also don't use metallics very much anyway. I've moved towards this non-metallic metal bullshit. Absolute wankery. Okay, ads are going to start in 3, 2, 1, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, while the ad breaks are running, I'm going to continue talking about this, but not to any great detail. Right now, I'm just mixing some red and yellow to create some lighter shades on the high points on the wrinkles of the cloak, which will hopefully simulate the idea of like light hitting on the high spots. But I suppose we'll see. Now, one way I saw these done is using a pink color instead of this like up to a yellow, this orange to yellow transition. But honestly, I think the orange to yellow is going to end up looking better anyway. Okay. Ad break's almost over. Only got about a minute left. I do not like these friggin' ad breaks. I'm just gonna have it do an ad break at the very beginning and F this stuff. This is obnoxious. It throws off my rhythm. Well, that's cool. It's outlining his shoulder dealy. Okay. What's probably also gonna happen with this is I'm gonna go back over it with a much finer brush, and that will hopefully smooth out some of these details a little bit more. Thankfully, the color on this seems to be doing a pretty good job of kind of blending in. So something I have noticed is that using different colors entirely instead of shades... Welcome back! Instead of like shades of this stuff is what's really going to help. Okay, there we go. Getting a little bit more of this orangey highlight on folds of the cloak where it goes up the highest, and I can eventually expand that out into a much more focused highlight is the plan. I've never actually done this before with this model, so I have no idea how good or bad this is going to look, and I suppose we're just going to have to find out when I'm finished with it. Great price point on those. Going to try them. The red dot line is synthetic. Yeah, they're like $3 or $4 a brush. I think that might end up being my next purchase because, based on what I keep hearing about Rosemary and Company, I kind of trust them. Okay, a little bit there. A little bit there. I'm glad that you do because I don't know anyone who's used them. So having you vouch for them is very powerful for me, at least. Okay, like that's pretty. That's a pretty solid testimony. But yeah, next time, oh crumbs. Next time I buy brushes, I think that's where I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna do it online like that because I've been buying Winsor & Newton's from Amazon, and anytime I can not give Bezos my money is a good day. I'm not great at brush care myself, but they keep going. Are they still holding a really good point? Because, like I said, that's where mine die really quickly. And some of it, my understanding, is just from the frequency of use. Since I'm constantly painting, I'm putting my brushes through an incredible amount of abuse, and so, you know, nothing's going to be able to solve that problem. Come on, come on. Where can I get you? Where can I get you? Yeah, because I keep seeing online people being like, yep, I've had this brush for 10 years and it's still sharp as a tack. Still has its point and everything. And I'm just like, I can barely keep my brushes for 10 weeks looking good. So I have no idea how you guys are doing it. And I think the only answer is just that I paint so much I destroy them. Where's the... There it is. I really wish I had done this guy in sub-assemblies. Okay, there we go. I don't even know if you guys could see that, but I have added a little bit of highlights onto his inner cloak. I think he's going to need more, though. Now, the crazy ones that I've seen, people have been adding, like, simulated lighting, object source lighting from the fire on the skeleton in front of him. And I have no idea how they're doing that. It looks so obscenely good, and it's way beyond what I feel like I could do for myself. So I'm just going to keep working on this little bit as best I can. Definitely get a highlight up here. Okay, just a little bit more. And hopefully that gradual highlight will look okay. But yeah, anywhere there's like a high spot on the cloak, that's where I want to put this highlight on. Because I started with just like a base red, and I've added some yellow to the base red to make kind of an odd looking orange. I probably should have used a different yellow, but it's doing its job at providing me with a light, a section that looks like it's being hit more by the light. Okay. Now, you can see pretty clearly that I've definitely outlined this, even though it's really rough. So now I'm going to move back over here and try and outline the rest of that, and we'll see how that looks. Before I finish over here, there's an angle that I'm not very fond of. Right there. Okay. I think that's about all I can do there for now. Now it's back to this stuff. Oh, okay. I did already do this. It's just very subtle. Okay, moving further along his cloak then. Now hopefully, if I do this right, it'll all build up and I'll have a very subtle looking highlight. If I don't, I'm just going to paint all over it again. I ended up doing that with the lion's cloak when I painted him. I did a very, very bad high contrast one where he had like dark violet creases that went up to like almost neon green highlights. But it was so blocky and scratchy, and I was so embarrassed by it that even though the client liked it, I was like, nah, I can't in good conscience give this to him. So I just completely painted it over in green and started over. And it turned out a whole lot better. Same thing here. So that felt good. That was one of those moments of like, I'm obviously getting better as a painter because I'm clearly recognizing when something looks bad and not getting too married to it, and then being able to fix it. But it's just all about that practice. Okay. I'm gonna hit this a little bit more. Yeah, that's something I kind of wish. I want to get better at doing cloaks. I think my cloaks look serviceable, but I don't think they're truly stunning, you know what I mean? When I first started working on them, and I first started trying these techniques, I was like, wow, these cloaks look amazing. I don't need to improve any more on them. I think they're great. But as I continue doing them, I notice more and more flaws, even as I look back on some of my old ones. And I'm like, man, I wish I could paint cloaks better. So it's just part of that process, right? You don't know a lot, and then you learn something, and then suddenly you know more and you feel great about it. But then you start knowing so much that you start seeing the flaws in what you previously thought was perfection. To me, that's kind of the painful part of learning, is that kind of discomfort area you hit when you're improving. Because it's like, you know you're bad, especially at this specific thing, but you're not sure how to get better. And you just kind of got to work through it. Okay, that's... Nope, got one a little bit there. Because that's kind of where I am right now, is... I know there's a lot of things that I'm not... Whoops, I'm way off. I'm not extremely good at, and I want to get better at, but I'm not really sure how. So I'm just going to keep working, keep watching these other brilliant artists, and just kind of follow along and see if I can improve my modeling after them. Okay, actually that already brings a lot more depth to that cloak. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but to the naked eye, blocking it out like that just gives it so much more depth. I'm pretty jazzed about that already. I will say I'm not particularly happy about this connection right here, because I used some, like, I thought it was blue tack, but it turned out to just be poster tack. I don't know how I messed those up, but it's a really, really rough connection on his arm right there. And honestly, I kind of wish I made his hand a lot bigger, because it's way too small in comparison to his right hand. But that's okay. Okay, we're gonna mix some white in with the yellow. Then we're gonna mix the yellow in, and we'll see how this looks. Pure experimentation now. So a little bit less of an area to show that it's like a subtle transition to the highest point in some of these folds. Actually, down there, I'm gonna have to mess with that later. There's parts of this where I'm still not very comfortable. I'll figure it out. Okay. There. Who came up with that saying jazz? Some people jazz sucks. Yeah, well, I guess when jazz first became a musical phenomenon, it was associated with being cool, right? So when you say, you know, to jazz it up a little bit, it means to add that layer of cool. Because I have a feeling it's a very old saying, right? And I mean, jazz is one of the biggest influences in modern music. Well, not really modern music anymore. That was back in the 30s and 40s, but, you know, one of those old sayings that die hard, I guess. Good question, though, because I have no clue. Okay. I don't know. I'm getting to that point also age-wise, where new phrases don't mean anything to me because I'm too old to know where they came from. So that was one of the it wasn't one of the moments where I realized I needed to get out of teaching, but it was definitely one of the moments where I realized that I wasn't going to be able to connect to my students the same way I had previously. Is that I obviously wasn't following popular culture the same way I used to, because I'm starting to hit my mid-late 30s, and so the things that the students were saying was becoming increasingly alien to me. And it's just like, man, I'm really losing that connection point with them. And it's starting to get weirder and weirder to hear me try and say it. And so while I did embrace the, you know, the older teachers saying the youth's slang and how stupid that was, it just meant that I started feeling increasingly uncomfortable doing it. Latest sayings are the worst. Kid keeps saying sham. What the fuck is sham? Well, I don't know if it means the same thing as that I'm thinking, but it, like, isn't a sham an old saying for something that's a fraud? Like, that guy is a sham. He's lying to you. He's not what he says he is.
Just think about it right now. Everything's okay.
But I don't know.
No matter where you find yourself.
Contemporary contemporary nomenclature has always been silly and made no sense.
Underneath it all, everything's actually all right. You're okay.
That's kind of been my thing. That was something I noticed, is that I remembered the things that I said in high school and the things I thought were cool in high school, and I realized all of it sounded stupid as sin. And I don't say it anymore because it's so outdated and so awful sounding, it's just not worth saying. But I also grew up in Northern Virginia in a very fairly city-based area. Every time someone comes to pick something up at work, they give their birthday as month, day, 03 times 6. I die a little inside. 03 to 06. Yeah. It's weird knowing that they're all adults, isn't it? No, what got me was, especially as a school teacher, was when I started being older than the parents. It's like, yeah, I know this is supposed to make me feel more prestigious and more respectable in my job, but I still feel like a kid in their mid-20s starting out. I just happen to have been in this job so long, I'm dead inside a little bit. So I think it was about time I left the profession. My diploma was in kindergarten. Your diploma was in kindergarten when they were born. I know, right? One of the worst parts of aging that they try and warn you about. Of course, The Simpsons had that great moment from an old episode where Homer and Barney are listening to some music, and his dad comes in and he's like, well, turn down that racket. What is that even anyway? And he's like, you're just not with it, Dad. And he's like, I used to be with it, but then with it changed, and now it's confusing and scary. It'll happen to you. And that's all I could think of. And I think that's the one thing that's prevented me from trying to cling to my youth too much, is it's just like, yeah, everyone eventually becomes outdated with pop culture. The one that gets me, I think my favorite phrase that I've heard, just because it's such a silly sounding word, is the word glizzy. Like, I'm still not sure what a glizzy is. I think it's a hot dog, but it's just such a funny sounding word. The word glizzy. I know, right? And so that one's it's a weird one. I love it. Because again, it's just so ridiculous sounding. And again, I can't complain. The shit that I said was dumb as a kid, but it's just the word glizzy is so silly and ridiculous. And Riz is another one. I feel old talking about this. Back in my day! But Riz to mean charisma, to mean confidence, being shorthand for charisma. I thought that was like, that's really smart. But I don't know. I just paint Warhammer minis and try to get a job. I don't want to age what's the word? Not gracefully. I don't want to be one of those that grow up to just be really resentful and hateful of newer generations. So I just try and keep that perspective. What I do want to do is try and get this darn robe to look better. Because right now it's looking silly. It wasn't graceful to begin with. Well, as we get older, that kind of becomes a decision, right? Even if like physically not graceful, which I am not, I am a dancing bear. We can at least try and have a graceful mentality. Bunch of snowflakes. Yep, that's another one. Okay. Look at me, I fractured my wrist just stepping off a porch. That could have happened to anyone. I mean, you were in front of an unfamiliar yard, and it had a dumb drop-off. So, the fact that it happened, honestly upsetting, but not really surprising. If you want to hear about a silly injury, I severely tore a muscle in my back doing Tai Chi. It's like, wait a minute, Ben Repaints. How on God's green earth did you tear a back muscle doing the old people dance? And the answer is, there's a motion that requires you to do a fairly deep lunge called Snake Creeps Down. And apparently Snake crept down so hard it tore my back. And so for like the rest of my senior year of high school, I had to walk around with a hunch and like recline stupidly in my chair. You did tear a ligament in your ankle by walking down a flight of stairs? See, I think it's just that bodies every now and then choose violence. Like, your bodies could just be normal and act normally, but every now and then it's just like, no. Prolapse the disc putting on your trainers. Ow. That just sounds incredibly painful. If only we had special exoskeletons that we could put on, just like power armor that would support all of our limbs, and we'd never have these problems. Okay, this is not going to do it, but I'm going to give it a shot. So something that I've read that really helps with having rough blends and rough layers like I have right here is to take a really, really thin glaze of your base color and just put it on top of everything, kind of like a wash. But since it's a glaze, it's not going to create weird coffee stains, and instead it's just going to cover everything and kind of tint it all back to a universal color. And I've done this on skin, and it looks really good on skin. So I started doing it on like cloaks and whatnot, and it tends to knock everything back down a little bit. So you don't end up having these ridiculously frumpy looking highlights. Yeah, I'm really freaking bad at it. Glazing is not something I am proud of. But it is also a reason why I keep like the beat up, worn out paintbrushes, because they've got like the fat head and the flat tip. They do a really good job of covering a lot of area quickly. What you used on Bellacor's sword. That doesn't surprise me. That sword's a thing of beauty. I don't know if I mentioned it when I posted the picture, but the way I did Lionel Johnson's sword felt like cheating. It's something that I've seen... excuse me. It's something that I've seen some like really good miniature painters do, is they'll do the rough outlines of the non-metallic metal, and then they'll take a really thinned down airbrush paint, and then they'll spray it just very lightly right at the transition points. And that's how they're able to get such nice blends. I forgot his name. Sergio Calvo is a master at it. If you ever want to see someone be stupid good at using an airbrush to make their blends look buttery smooth, look up Sergio Calvo. Let me see if I can type it in here. Sergio Calvo. He's a really, really good painter, and he makes very like well-informed, intentioned use of the airbrush. And yeah, you can actually see it right there, how it knocked everything back down to a unified kind of red tint. Because where I was having those ridiculously loud pinks and bright oranges, they've all kind of been knocked back down into the cloak. So, pretty jazzed about that. That actually ended up looking okay. Oops. Oh wait, no, that's... What's wrong with you? Oh. There we go. So yeah, he's not done. I still need to do the base. I still need to do the Skeleman. I still need to do the flames and potentially make the flames kind of bounce off him. I definitely need to clean up that sword because I'm not very happy with how it's looking. But I can't say I'm too mad with him. The shoulder pad, the chest shield, the sword obviously, and the helmet are all 3D printed. And I gotta say, I'm pretty jazzed at how the helmet turned out. I worked on that this morning, and the purple shading is definitely making it look pretty good. But yeah, I like this model. This guy is going to end up becoming my my chapter master for my Imperial fists. He's going to play as a captain because I really don't want to do anything else with him. But he looks freaking cool, and that's all that matters. At some point, I'm going to get to be able to play a narrative campaign with these guys. And then my Imperial Fist can get their asses kicked by everyone. I also don't know if you saw, but they had... What's his name? Oh my goodness. Auspex Tactics did a rundown of like the tournaments and the top winning teams and blah 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 blah. And once again, it looks like the Eldar did pretty good. But of like 10 of the top placing armies, 9 of them were different armies. And to me, that's amazing news, because that means that there is a lot of viability in the meta right now. There's a lot of viability in army building, and I think that that's good. Though I did also see, what's his name? Goobertown Hobbies released a video talking about his attempt to get back into 40k and to give it a shot again in 9th edition with an escalation league. And he kind of outlined a lot of the things that I'm not really fond of rules-wise with Warhammer. And it's honestly kind of pushing me back towards one-page rules. Because I don't play Warhammer enough to want to keep up with the myriad rules and rule changes. I follow this one guy, Minimainting. See his non-metallic metal knight. I was like, F this, I quit. Yeah. Watching people do like non-metallic metal on large-scale projects always just makes me want to just put my brush down and not do this anymore. I'll go back to playing video games, thank you. Because that stuff is impressive. I wonder at that point, though, if to save some effort and to save some sanity, that guy is primarily doing things through the airbrush. Because once you start hitting knight levels in height and size, the brush itself stops being as important a tool. Like there was a guy, whoops, I'm not even on camera. There's a guy who won a Golden Demon last year for his a charging knight that he did. And the way he does weathering is with like a lot of sponges. So his model had a very unified, really good look to it, but a lot of that look came from him using sponges for texture and for blending. And it's like, but he's not paintbrushing. And it's like, they know. They also don't care. It looks good, that's all that matters. But yeah, seeing some of the non-metallic knights out there, just like, no thank you. That's a lot of work that I just don't want to do. Okay, so there's like a little tuft of brown robe in there that I'm trying to hit, and hoping I don't hit anything else. Beautiful. That actually turned out brilliant. I'm not touching that again. There we go. Okay, I'm a bit checked out on 3 red dot synthetic sable. I'm about to hit checkout on 3 red dot synthetic sable, 2 red sable blends, and a 1 Series 99 brush to have a go with. Good luck with that. It'll cost you $24. See, I love that so much because this thing was $24. It's kneeling down with candles around it. It's even got the candle shining on the armor in different places. So he had some just absolutely beautiful object source lighting on top of it. That's always fun to look at. What am I looking for? I need a dry brush because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to paint the Skeleman. So I'm going to take a dry brush, get it in the bone color, wipe it back off a little bit, and go to town. Okay, you guys can't see anything. Go to town. And I'll clean the rest of this up later. Because, like, if I'm looking at this appropriately, closely enough, he is being impaled on a piece of sewage pipe. So with that being the case, I'm going to want to repaint that sewage pipe. $14 shipping from the UK, not that bad really. Yeah, that is true. Okay, there we go. There we go with the dry brushing. Okay, Skeleman, I need you to get hit a little bit stronger than that for me. Dry brushing will forever be my favorite. Whoops. There we go. Okay, ads are going to start again in another 45 seconds, so be aware of that, guys. I should be back in, I don't know how long it is. I'm turning this damn thing off. I hate the ads so much. I was hoping this would make things feel a little better, but it doesn't. It makes it feel much worse. So, yeah, I'm going to turn this off next time I stream. This is awful. How do people do this? Like, I watched Drawfee, and Drawfee has it, but they have someone monitoring it, and I guess because they're playing a game, it works a little better, but this feels terrible. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and, I guess, paint the post that he's stuck to. Because I think, by and large, I'm done with him. 3 2, 1, see ya. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and some of that, do some of that, hit some of that, that. Okay. Then there we go. Okay, people will be back. Everyone will be back in about a minute and a half. So hopefully they didn't miss too much. Just me painting this post. And eventually I'll have to go back and do the flames too. I think that'll have to happen off stream because I can't keep him in like a good position while I'm doing this. Okay, and I suppose the good news here is that once that dries, I've already got the white out, so you can just add that in, make it into a dark gray, mix that in here so that it has a little bit more color than just black and white, got a little flavor to the color. Now metallic metal that a little bit. Metallic metal that. Get a little bit of that up here because this is all going to get hit anyway with a what you call it. This is all going to get hit anyway with like a flame color. Emphasize the flame, so this is all just kind of window dressing. Welcome. Okay, big Discord. The poster's mini. Let's check the Discord so I can cry a little bit. Welcome back, guys. My goodness, look at that. Yeah, I see exactly what you're talking about, though. That is beautiful. Opening browser. Okay, let's go ahead. Window capture. Badinga. Turn that on. There we go. That is really nice. I see what he did though. Obviously, because it's a picture of a monitor, it's a little bit rough, but I actually see exactly how he did that too. That's really neat. That's been my favorite thing about even trying to learn non-metallic metal is even though I'm not great at it, I can definitely see the technique being used. He's going from not even a true black. He's going from a dark gray next to the orange on the back of his thigh, and then he's going to a slightly lighter gray, and then a white. So yeah, that's tremendous. And of course he's got that orange going to a yellow, or almost brown going to a yellow, for all the light sources coming out. That looks fantastic. I think I know how he did that. Because he went from like let me see if I can do that. Let's say like right here. He had like a black, right? And then from that black, probably not dry, you know, that's still wet. He kind of did like a gray that he just kind of blended in, like right in there. And of course, a huge part of non-metallic metal, as I understand it, is like the light source and making sure you're getting the light well coverage. And then from there, he went to like, he's just going to slightly lighter colors. So for the inside of the gray, this is probably going way too white, but yeah, that's way too wet. That's the other problem. And this is where I start struggling with it, is once you start getting into the lighter colors, it gets really hard to like differentiate. So let's see. Yeah, he just did like 3 or 4 colors there. Did a little bit more white, mix that in. Get rid of that. Yeah, see, that's my brush is holding too much moisture, and that's why mine's falling apart. But once you get enough moisture out of it, you can kind of just ease it up to that color. Go back to the gray a little bit. Add some of that gray back in. And it's just kind of teasing it back and forth between the white and the gray and the black. And again, I want to emphasize, I'm not really good at this. I'm pretty bad at non-metallic metal. And then further out, which you really, I don't think, can see on this thing, but... And that's kind of how he's getting that layering. Except because he's a lot more precise than me, and he's probably using a less watered down white, he's able to get a really nice... After the conversion rate, the total was $35. You don't think the wiggling left and right is helping any? Yeah, it most definitely is not. I'm speeding through this. It's just pushing the moisture around. But yeah, he's just getting a really nice smooth transition between his grays to his white. Which, of course, not great to mimic on the side of a handle. By the way, how's it going, Vanzy GX? I think I pronounced that right. I am currently going to switch brushes because this is not going to help me for what I'm trying to do. I'm currently painting up a conversion from the Belial into an Imperial Fist proxy because I am an Imperial Fist fan. And right now I'm just kind of working on getting some highlight colors in. You'll give me a full report once you receive the brushes and give them a shot. If those synthetics end up working out well for you, if they hold a tip, if they hold moisture well, I'm probably going to have to make a purchase based off of your recommendation. I just got here to say that's the only time I've seen some red and yellow work. Really? I appreciate it. Thank you. It's, from what I understand, it's a pretty standard third company Imperial Fists color scheme. And it's the only one I like. I'm not overly fond of their black and yellow appearance. So even though, you know, the chapter master of the chapter is not going to be wearing yellow and red, I like it. Yeah, you don't like it, but I made it. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's when you know you've done a good job. When I first started getting into Warhammer back in college, and I first saw the Imperial Fists, I loved the name, but I thought the yellow armor was friggin' stupid. It's way too loud, it looks terrible, etc., etc. But when I seriously started getting into Warhammer, I started reading up more about the Imperial Fists, and that's when I realized, no, I like them. Yellow is a nightmare to paint, it sure is. What helps with that is just proper layering. Maybe it's because it's not a taxi yellow, more like a creamy yellow with a not so intense red. That's also fair. This isn't just a yellow. I went up from, I built it up from like, actually a maroon to an orange to like a pale yellow. So it's not just a single color. It's like a series of layers. And the red is kind of the same way, though I haven't done it to the same degree. It was a red on a black base, and then I mixed it with some of the yellow to create an orange highlight, and then I knocked it back down. Have you seen the pink-brown method? Yeah, I have. The pink-brown-yellow method is a really good one. I like it. I used it on a lot of my line troops, but I was following Jose Da Vinci's brush-only yellow armor, and he starts with like an orange and works his way up to like a bright yellow. And I'm not as good as he is at it, pretty clearly, but I like the depth of color that it gives versus just trying to do it all with like an airbrush. So I'm pretty jazzed about how it is. But yeah, let's see. What else do I need to do with this guy? Eventually I'll have to do the flames. I think I'm just going to move to the dry brush stuff. I'm starting to struggle a little bit. You're pure brush worker, so I just got into painting, tried to do a Harlequin kill team. On a side note, diamond patterns on a 1/10 of a nanometer wide models is impossible. You tried painting a yellow and purple alternating scheme. You just primed it black. Absolutely fair. One of my friends started with Harlequins, and he tried to do the checkerboard thing too, and just decided, screw that, I'm doing Power Rangers. I don't know who in their right mind decided that checkerboards was a good idea, but they're evil. You wouldn't checker Harlequins without an airbrush stencil? Yeah, that's fair too. Something I have seen is that I've actually seen some very high level painters and very patient painters do checkerboards, and it's like, more power to you guys. That's not something I'd ever want to do. They basically have to like outline sketch in the checkerboard with the the complementary color. So yeah, kudos to you for trying. Sorry it didn't work out, but at least you learned one way to not do it. And the next time you attempt it, when you feel brave enough, it'll look better. That's the best, encouragement I can give you today. I don't think I've ever tried to do checkerboards, and that's why. Which is, you'd think I'd want to, because, Imperial Fist player use Power Fist, right? But no, I've just never had the urge to do that, because I like my sanity. We primed white, then did yellow and purple on the Troop Master, pink and green on the other one, trying to find unique schemes on the others. Yeah, I mean, just keep looking for the complementary colors. There's a ton of them. Okay, so this was originally painted brown, which kind of helped that. This thing can be hit because I'm using the same kind of khaki yellow as a bone color, and I probably shouldn't do that. Harley should all be unique. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Harlequins are super neat models, and so they deserve a lot of attention, I feel. Okay. Okay, yeah, okay. Gonna go ahead and do the flame, I suppose. For the flame, we're going to start with a red, and we're going to work our way back down to a much brighter color. If you ever want to feel more inferior about your Harlequins, look up the Gubbins painter and his speed effect Harlequins. That's dirty. Speed painting Harlequins. That's not okay. Not speed painting? Oh, speed effect. What am I talking about? Is that the guy who did... I'm going to add a knight to my Shadowkeeper's Custodes army and waiting for Inquisitor Draxus to come in. They're moving so fast they have clones. Yeah, didn't he end up buying multiples of the model so he could have actual, like, clones? Like, just glued to the actual model? Because I think I saw those on Reddit a few months back, and I was just like, that's not fair, man. Yeah, having the after image. That's just not fair. That's dirty. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see what I'm even working on. You guys are about to see where I have some pretty severe shortcomings with fire and object source lighting. You used it to duplicate some overpriced Chaos Spawn kits. He did the molds with blue stuff. Oh my goodness. I mean, I get it, because I figure if he put the actual plastic sculpts in the blue tack or whatever to make it work. But I mean, he's definitely going to have some of the coolest models on the table. Oh, I see what you're talking about. You used it to duplicate some overpriced Chaos Spawn kits. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Took me a second. I was a little bit behind there, but I'm all caught up now. Okay, so the flame effects. I'm going to add in some of the yellow to try and create this orange again. A little bit closer to the source of the flame. We're going to make it a little bit brighter in some areas.
No matter where you find yourself, no matter what kind of stuff is going on in your life.
Okay.
Underneath it all, everything's actually alright.
And hopefully what this will do is it'll emulate how closer to the source of a fire,
More power than
the color is brighter.
you might be giving yourself credit for. If you have something that's going on in your life
That's not where I wanted to put that. Okay.
A reminder to take a little bit better care of yourself. You're worth it.
That was one of the understandings I had when I was learning how to paint flames, is that the closer to the center of the fire is where you want the brighter colors. I don't even remember exactly how I did that sword. I feel like it might have been light to dark though, since I was glazing. Yeah, that's fair. Flames have never been my strong point. I've done some neat stuff, but it's never been this precise. I think I did a very fun flame base on, I keep listing, I'm sorry guys, on a Gravis Captain for a friend, but never been super confident in my ability to make realistic flames. Speaking of sculpting, have you guys seen the winner of the Slayer sword at the Golden Demon at Adepticon? That model was just disgusting. It was beautifully done, and incredible kudos. You're surprised with yourself at how well it came out? That's always the best part, because you're not sure what's right or wrong. You tend to be a little more free, and then it tends to exceed expectations. But yeah, Aria, did you see the model that won the Slayer, that took the Slayer sword at Golden Demon for Adepticon last weekend? Because that model was a thing of beauty. Okay, I'm gonna stop for a second because I need to show off this model. What this person did, I'm actually gonna let you see it and then see how much smarter you are than I am, because I did not notice exactly what they had done until I had it pointed out to me, and I felt very foolish. Let's see. Here it comes. Where's the... There it is. Shrink it down a bit. I saw it and I was like, what's the big deal? I don't know what's so special about that. And then I looked at it closer and I started reading the comments of people talking about it, and I went, oh, that's why they won the Slayer sword. That's obscene. That should be illegal. So what do you see in there? What amazingness are you seeing with this model? Because there's enough of it to go around here. When I first saw it, I didn't realize that what the individual had done, what Alexandra dos Santos had done, is they had basically sculpted a reflection for the vampire. And that the separator, like the land where it kind of cut off the border, was supposed to be the surface of a lake. And so I was just in awe once I realized that that's what they were trying to do with this. So if you zoom into it and you really look at it, you can see that they've got the armor underneath it reflecting, and they've got like the soul leaving the body, I guess you can call it. And they've got the tree reflected and mirrored perfectly on it too. And to make it even more nuts, they didn't have that armor, because that's not armor that you can just own, right? They had to sculpt that armor. And so they sculpted the entire bottom half of it. And it's just like, my god. No wonder you won Slayer's sword. All the little details in there is just like, oh my goodness. Good lord. Okay. I'm done ogling that. I was incredibly impressed with it. Yeah, I know, right? And it's just like, man, what are they putting in the water to get these people to paint these amazing things? And I guess the answer really is, it's just a lot of hard work and a lot of imagination and ambition. Where can I get some of that water? Exactly. Like, when I finished the lion, I thought I was impressed with him. I was like, wow, I did a really good job on Lionel Johnson, and he looks really good, and I'm really proud of this. And then I saw these stuff, and I was like, okay, I have now recognized where I am on the totem pole. And like, I'm still proud of the Lionel Johnson. And when I gave it to the client who wanted it, who paid me for it, he was beside himself. He was so happy with how it turned out. He actually ran up to the local game store owner and started showing it off to him. You're so far on the bottom of the pole, you're in the dirt. Well, I've also started to realize that that's not a fair way to look at it either, because we're not in direct competition with these people, right? You know, they're entering Golden Demon because that's part of the hobby they want to focus on. But that's even more impressive. I thought he just bought 2 vamps and 2 trees and glued them upside down. No, they're mirrored, so we had to sculpt the entire bottom from scratch, and it's just like, my goodness, that one, they are dedicated. But yeah, it's just kind of that thing of like, you know, unless I'm actively painting to win a Golden Demon, what's the point of comparing myself to them? They have specifically honed their skills to that specific style of painting, right? Like, what was it? If I'm a cook, and I cook for my kids and my family and my friends, and they all love the food that I cook, and it makes them happy and it makes them satisfied, what do I care if I'm not Gordon Ramsay? Right? I'm never going to own 40 restaurants. I'm never going to try to. My goal is to cook and make my family happy. Yeah, you have no desire to enter Golden Team, and you just want to make pretty things. So if they're pretty enough for you, then who cares what Golden Demon says? I think one of my favorite YouTube artists has become Don Serratos, who's a Filipino gentleman who was into Gunpla and then kind of transitioned over to miniature painting and Warhammer, not just 40K. And when he first started doing Warhammer, you're a sucker for validation because trauma, but yeah, no, I get it. I definitely understand the desire to hear positive things. And that's what we're here for, though. I think your model painting is awesome. I love to see what you come up with, because the way you paint models and the colors you use and the way you put them on your minis is different than what I can do, and so it's inspiring to see what you come up with. And that's what I got to say about that. But Don Serratos, when he first started, for the time I'm not delusional about my work. Well, you have a good, healthy understanding of where you are, and that's important. But Don Serratos, like I was saying, he came from Gunpla, and so he has a very different approach to model painting than a mini painter. And when he first started painting Warhammer minis and putting them on his YouTube channel, he apparently got a lot of comments like, yeah, well, your skills aren't going to win you a Golden Demon. There's this, that, and blah, blah, blah. And people kept giving him shit about it. And it's like, he's not trying to enter a Golden Demon. He's not trying to say his techniques are the Bible of mini painting. And he kind of got real petty about it. And so he started mentioning it in his clips, or in his videos. He was like, yeah, well, my painting may not be good enough to get a Golden Demon, but it's worthy of at least a Golden Lemon. And then he just started creating like the Golden Lemon for his paint jobs, and he would have like the Golden Lemon photo shots for them when they were done. And I don't know, the guy has over 40,000 subscribers, so I think he's doing something right. Speaking of doing something right, this accidentally turned out to be a halfway decently lit flame piece. Yeah, I mean, he's got a Patreon, he's making money off of that, he's being sponsored by painting companies and supply shops and whatnot. I don't think the guy needs a Golden Demon for the validation. He also has like a college degree in art, so I think he knows what he's doing. But yeah, see, look at that. I did that completely on accident. The flame turned out okay. The next thing to do, which is the part I fear, is doing the object source lighting. I think I'll save that for later. So what I think I'm going to do instead, I'm going to get some of the brown and start painting in the terrain. Because I think what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to hit it with just a flat brown, which you kind of can't read anymore. And then I'm going to hit it with a wash and dry brush it back up to a lighter color. And that way, I can be a little lazy with the base and touch it up later. Because I'm not at a point where I'm done with the model mentally, but transitioning back into like painting for the camera feels weird. And I think when I moved everything around, I accidentally placed the camera and the and like my setup just slightly off kilter, and so it's causing me to constantly lift. In other news, you think you need a better camera for your art streams? That's fair. Not sure what to look into though. Your webcam is nice, but it doesn't seem to focus quickly. Gosh, I don't know what kind of cell phone you have, but Camo Studio with the cell phone is really nice. All the other stuff, it's probably because there's a lot of other stuff on your desk. That's part of it. Like, if you notice, I've a Galaxy S7. Oh my goodness. I have no idea when that came out, but I believe if that was before they invented, or they started putting multiple lenses in the camera, that's probably part of it. And the other part, oh wait, no, you're not using that. You're using a webcam. I'm sorry. It's about 8 years old, but it still works, so why change it? That's absolutely fair and practical. There's a thing called Camo Studio, which is what I use. And Camo Studio gives you the ability to have a fixed focus if you want it. And for a long time, that's what I've used. I actually just found a feature on it, like tonight, that is telephoto, which I didn't know this camera had on it. But the telephoto has done a really nice job of keeping everything in focus for me and keeping the details sharp. And I haven't had to zoom in very much with it, even though the camera is kind of in a weird place. So I'm pretty jazzed about that. But yeah, I would look into getting like a good USB charger for your phone so it doesn't die midstream, and getting Camo Studio. And if that doesn't sound appealing to you, there are some pretty decent digital camcorders for under $300 that you can look at, I guess. I think they do make some web cameras for streaming, but I don't know much about them. I've heard they're okay, but that's for like big people streaming, not mini painting streaming. And I've heard that dock cameras, like you would see in a school, are pretty good. The stuff that replace the overhead projectors. So that might also be an option, is a half-decent dock camera. Though you'd be a lot more limited on the angle you can use. I've thought about Logitech Pro C1920. Okay, so what I understand is that's a good camera. Like, that's the camera you want for streaming. That's a good default. But it might, in that case, it really might just be that you've got other stuff on your desk and that's trying to pull the focus away. Okay, we got one more ad break coming, I guess. I suggest you run it through Camo Studio. Like, run your Logitech through Camo Studio so you can have a little bit more control over the settings on the camera, like the zoom and everything. That might help a lot. Tinker with the Logitech cam software. It's pretty nice to mess with too. Fair enough. From what I know, that's a good camera. But yeah, I had mine on a manual focus. We'll try reducing some clutter, see if that helps. Well, I hope it works out for you. And I guess I'll have to see next time I tune into a stream. It looks like we're going to have ads in about 4 seconds, so I'll see you in a minute. Okay, ads are running, I guess. I hate that. So I'm just going to continue working on this bit. I'm just kind of putting this ugly brown on the dirt. And the idea is that even though this is definitely not the color of dirt, I can dull it down with some Agrax Earthshade. And that will dull down the dirt color to a more, you know, acceptable dirt color. And then I can build it back up with another color. And hopefully that will all work okay. Okay. We got a lot of dirt on this thing. And then we've got this this ruin that I'm gonna have to futz with soon. Okay. Where is the rest of the rock formation? There's more of it there. There's some underfoot. I'm not going to bother reaching that. Okay. Same kind of thing with this. We're going to go ahead and hit a lot of the ruins. This color. So that I can then hit it with a wash. We'll dull it down a lot, and then I can bring up the highlights again with the base color. That's the plan. Okay, ads will be done in 10 seconds. And then it'll be good to go. 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're back. I hate this ad break shit. Ad break bad. Do not like. Don't want to deal with ever again. Maybe if somehow I get 1 million viewers and I'm rolling in it. But ad breaks suck. Ad breaks suck. No like ad break. So yeah, I'm just kind of painting all this up to some kind of base color so I can hit it with a wash. And then I can highlight it again. But yeah, my best guess is just that the phone or the camera is just trying to focus on too many things because the auto sensor is telling it to. So you can either try removing some clutter, or you can do a manual autofocus, and that might help as well. Okay, let's see if I can hit that. Okay. I'm gonna let that. Well, actually, I'm not even gonna let this dry. I'm gonna make it dry. I've got a hair dryer. Hair dryer, come here. Yeah. Wait, one moment. There we go. Got the hair dryer. I'll be right back. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and hit it with the hair dryer for a second, and hopefully that will dry it down enough, and then I can hit the base with a wash. And after I do that, I can start doing some object source lighting to play off of the flame. Okay. There we go. That's adequately clean, I think. Okay. Let's see. I also bought some Pro Acryl Bold Titanium White because I keep hearing that the Pro Acryl Bold Titanium is the absolute best white on the market. I have no clue how true this is, but I want to give it a shot. You know what I mean? So once I finish with my Vallejo white, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the Pro Acryl white, and we'll get to have some. We're going to see if that actually works. Look forward to hearing my opinion on it. Something I'm going to need to remember personally is that my Vallejo white is a very corrupted version of it, because I think I got a lot of paint thinner, like airbrush paint thinner in it, or medium or something, and so it's incredibly runny, and I don't think that's how it normally is, so I kind of futzed it up on my own. And so I'll need to remember that when I review the Pro Acryl. But yeah, my understanding is that it goes on real smooth. It's relatively pigment dense, given that it's a white, and that it otherwise just works really well, especially compared to Army Painter's white or Citadel's whites, which are universally considered awful. I don't know, what kind of white white paint do you use? Because I know it's one of the biggest points of contention for painters, is like painting white and painting yellow are the two worst colors, and a lot of it is just because the paints for them are awful. Honestly, if you're able to get a decent white with a Citadel or an Army Painter, then more kudos to you. Yeah, the fact that you're able to get a decent white with a Citadel white is impressive, so more power to you. You know what they say, it's the artist, not the tool. Actually, I don't know if you've seen it, but Army Painter is releasing a new line called the Wargamer Fanatic, and apparently the new formulation of the base white is pretty decent. I didn't realize they changed the formulation of the base white. I'm glad that Citadel has decided to address those concerns. Though admittedly, Citadel is usually pretty good about that stuff, even if it takes a little longer than people would like. They tend to do a decent job of fixing problems in that manner. They're just slow. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with... Nope, that's not enough. There we go. I don't remember if this is actually Agrax Earthshade or if I replaced this with Army Painter Strong Tone. I think it's their new formula of Agrax Earthshade. And if that's the case, it's fine, I guess. I just remember getting Army Painter Strong Tone and realizing there was like materially no difference between it and Citadel. And then I just stopped using Citadel's Agrax Earthshade for a while. I'd rather they take their time and get it right than rush it and have it suck. Yeah, that was kind of the issue Army Painter had for a while, is that they continued to try and listen to the complaints, but their fixes weren't very good. Like, right after COVID, I remember they released a version of their dropper bottles with the little agitator balls in them. And it's like, I guess that's okay, but even after mixing them, your paint still sucks. Okay, so he's inching ever closer to done. That definitely helped a lot with the coloring on the floor. I kind of wish I hadn't used the base he came with, because it's got some Dark Angels iconography that I just don't care for. That's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with the air dryer to help it cool down a little bit faster, or to dry. My next bigger investment is a Vortex Mixer. That's a good investment. I cannot sing the praises of the Vortex Mixer enough. Matter of fact, if you give me a second, I'm gonna finish drying this guy off, and then I'm gonna show off my Vortex Mixer, because I got a cheap no-name brand. I think mine was like 30 bucks. Yeah, no, Vortex Mixers are amazing. It doesn't matter. If you're not too worried about sound, it honestly doesn't matter. Like, Artist Opus has one that's 100 bucks. And it's like, you don't need to spend that much on a Vortex Mixer. I'm sorry. Like, if you want it to be whisper quiet, then sure. But that just feels like gross overspending. Give me a second. I've got mine tied off, so it's not exactly in a place where I can show it off. Okay, come on. Get loose, get loose, get loose. There we go. Okay, so. There's my Vortex Mixer. This even is like a no-name brand. It's a makeup. This one's actually a makeup mixer, I think. Vivor. Vortexer Mixer, as they're calling it. That's gonna go there. I'm gonna butts with the camera. Nope, the camera's actually zoomed out. Okay. We're gonna put that right there. And I'm gonna get me a Citadel paint that I'm almost positive is separated. Let me find one real quick. Oh, there we go. So I have Balthazar Gold, right? There it is, Balthazar Gold. And you can see it's pretty badly separated, right? You can clearly see that it's separated to Sin, and it's pretty much no good. And I'm gonna pull the wet palette away, so I can put in my dirty as shit dry palette. And I'm gonna shake this up a little bit, and it still looks like crap. But we're gonna go ahead and try this. Which one do I want? I want that one. Oh dear, you can actually see the medium oozing out of it. Oh, that's upsetting. I don't know. Can you see that on the palette cam? Okay. Can you see how nasty that looks? Oh, that looks terrible. That's the Balthazar Gold with a little bit of a violent shake out of the Citadel paint pot, right? And we're gonna take that, and I'm just gonna where can I put this? I'm gonna put this right there. Yeah, that immediately lost pigmentation. I don't even know if you could see that. I'm gonna take some more, put it maybe down here. Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. There's a lot of bright reflection, but you get the idea. Yeah, I'm sorry. My lights are pretty flooded. Yeah, I'm gonna take this, and I'm just gonna... Well, forgot the webcam removed. Okay, so the webcam's gonna stay there. I'm gonna shake this up a bit for about, 10-15 seconds. They suggest 30. Okay, so there we go. Everything's back to normal. Now, let's see. If I put this in here, that already comes out looking a whole lot better. Like, I can't see the separation of the medium, first of all. And then let's go ahead and do that. Neat. That was a terrible test. I'm sorry to waste your time. But I'm dead serious. I love this thing. I hope it shows up better. I can't tell if it did. On my end, it looks about the same, but it definitely feels and looks better. Let's see if you can... There we go. I don't know if you can see the difference in the two, but it definitely feels better. If you use one of your friends' shop, or you've been in town so you know the awesomeness, fantastic. Okay, well, I'm done messing around with that. This is why I'm not into sales, because I'm bad at it. I'm going to put that back there, line that back up. The vortex mixer can get out of there. And where'd I put my dude? There he is. Okay. So, hitting it with the dark wash. I feel it's time I finally joined the club, especially with some of my paints needing more heavy-duty mixing because they've sat for a while. I'm assuming you've got, like, agitator marbles in them, because that definitely helps, too. Nah, this still needs a little bit more drying. You probably should put those in there. The Army Painter sells them. They're just like little stainless steel marbles. And if you don't have those, they're not even in dropper bottles. Oh my god. Oh yeah, they're in the Citadel pots. But even still, I would go ahead and put those in there because those help knock the pigment off of the bottom of the pot. Unlike someone else, I don't leave the lids open when using them. Yeah, that's less of an issue. The bigger issue is that the pigment settles at the bottom of them, and that's hard to knock loose even with the agitator. And so that's why people tend to want to put, agitator marbles in them. I'm also kind of curious, who are you calling out with this, and unlike someone else? Use a little plastic stick thing from the coffee shops to help mix them manually. Yeah, that's fair too. Atsu. Oh, does he do that? Poor feller. Yeah, I try not to, specifically because it does dry out the drop or the pots really badly. I give him so much crap for it on his hobby streams. You'd think he'd learn, especially with how much disciplined or how disciplined he is with the martial arts he takes. You'd think he'd know better about maintaining his equipment. But I don't know. That's just me. I came from a pretty fastidious home with a military father who is all about maintaining his equipment. So there are certain things that I do not bend on, and that's one of them. Okay, this is not quite the color I'm looking for, but it'll do. Don't get me started on his brushes. Well, if his brushes work for what he's doing, then good for him, I guess. Soft Servo was telling me about one of his other friends who doesn't seem to care for his brushes at all. He just kind of lets them get destroyed. And he just kind of uses his mouth to straighten them back out. And it's just like, that's impressive. He mostly uses contrast, so like he brushes all right. Yeah, contrast painting's legit. I used to hate it. I thought it was just like, well, I didn't hate it. I didn't like how it looked when I did it, so I gave up on it. And I got really frustrated on YouTube because I was still trying to learn techniques, how to paint this, how to paint that, and how to do it quickly so I could have an army done. And I kept getting these video ads for like, hey, paint this thing fast, speed painting this kind of army. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to learn how to speed paint this army. And the first step was always use a contrast paint. And it's like, that's the dumbest video in the world to make, because that's specifically what they're for. You shouldn't need a video to tell you to use contrast paints if you're trying to speed paint. To me, that was like saying, hey, make dinner fast. First step, go to McDonald's. Like, no shit, that'll make dinner fast. That's what fast food is for. But that was just me, and that was me being kind of cranky about it, because I was hoping to get, like, legitimate good techniques, and instead just kept getting shown speed painting videos, or contrast painting videos. So once I kind of got over that, I realized, no, contrast paints are great for the people who need them. And it also became a thing of, like, seeing other very talented painters use them in different ways. Like, Darcy Bono has great videos on how to use contrast paint alongside other painting techniques. And I thought those were really cool. Okay, let's see if I can do this without ruining this model. Get a little bit of that red on the leg to show some object source lighting. And of course, this is sloppy ass object source lighting. Someone watching this is going to be really disappointed in me. Okay. Okie dokie. Mix in a little bit of yellow with that to get us into a brighter orange, hopefully. So I'm assuming you're not much of a fan of the contrast paints. That's not enough. There we go. My theoretical plan after I finish Arlariel is to finish up the Screamer Killer I started, then do some work on the Daughters of Cain. Very cool. After I finish this Mad Lad, I've got to go back to doing... I've got a couple of things in the pipeline right now, because I've just been collecting minis without finishing painting them. And I feel kind of bad about that. So I've got to get back to actually painting the stuff I've collected instead of just collecting stuff to paint. They haven't touched your daughters in a long time. You need to do some repairs first. You dropped their box while moving to my previous place. Ouch. Sorry to hear that. Okay. More yellow. Mix most of that yellow off. And again, as we get closer and closer to the center, we go to increasingly bright colors. And hopefully this will shine through and show through when I finish doing this. Because unfortunately, I can already see me losing some of it. Nothing major, thankfully. Well, that's a relief. Always the worst feeling. Okay. Okay. Down towards the center. Down towards the center. Towards the center. Okay. That is some of the quickest, sloppiest object source lighting I've ever done. Doesn't look great, but it's there now, I guess. Sure. It'll read for the tabletop. That's what I'm going to tell myself. Gotta clean off that brush because I just absolutely ruined it. I don't know how much of that was visible on camera. I'm sorry if I went crazy with that. But I'm getting to the point now where I kind of just want to be done with this lad. And I think I'm close enough. Now he just needs a bunch of touch-up. But yeah, there's my object source lighting. Actually, one model that I'm very excited to paint at some point is a 3D print. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times on my stream before, but one of my favorite models that have come out recently is from Age of Sigmar. It's the Harbinger of Decay. And again, I found a decent proxy for it. So I bought the proxy, and I put them together, and now all that's left for me to do really is to paint the lad. So I'm going to be doing that very soon. I actually started doing so while I was waiting to pick up the Lionel Johnson commission I did. Okay. Again, not beautiful. Base is not that great. I can fix the base later. Honestly, I might take him off the dang base and completely redo the thing, because I'm not feeling it. It makes him too much still look like Belial. I don't know. What do you guys think? I have a turntable, but it's somewhere else right now. So yeah, there's the lad. Nah, I take that back. I think he looks okay. He's going to be a cool model to put on the tabletop and then watch get blown away in turn 1 by a much better opponent. Yeah. I probably should highlight the inside of his cloak. Once again, that'll be a problem for another day, Benry. But okay. And I could definitely do more with that. Make that pop a little bit better. But right now, it's looking okay. Yeah, check this out. I printed this lad. And so I'm really excited to finish painting this guy. I started painting him while I was at the game store, waiting to pick up Lionel Johnson, and I just love the look of the model. Because it resembles the Frazetta. I forget how to pronounce his name, but it's got like that really strong resemblance. So he's gonna look great when he's done. And I don't want to play Nurgle demons in Age of Sigmar, but I keep kind of getting pushed to Nurgle demons in Age of Sigmar. So I guess I'm going to be playing Nurgle demons in Age of Sigmar. What I thought was kind of neat on him was this little crow guy printed separately. He was his own little crow, and the fact that somehow I didn't break him in the printing process blows my mind. I also printed the Space Marine captain, who I really like. I ended up giving him a Mark 7 helmet just because I liked them more. But Space Marine captain, just a straightforward Space Marine captain, was something that I've wanted and I don't have. So he's going to be fun to paint as well. Beyond that, I don't remember if I did this on stream, but I did a little bit more work on her to try and make her gold look a little more gold. She's completely non-metallic metal, and I'm struggling a lot with this one. It's very discouraging. But I'm trying my best, and I'm going to get over it eventually. And something else I'm very excited to paint, just because I think the model's so stupid, is Stiltman. I finally found him in stock somewhere, and as soon as I saw him, I bought him. But this is my favorite AdMech model. Like, more than Belisarius Call, more than the Spider Tank. This stupid guy. I love this model. Look at him with his goggles on top of his head. He's got goggle eyes, and then he's got bigger goggles. And because they're so prominent, they just make it look like he's got doofy googly eyes on top of his head. Now, the idea of this model is cool. He's constantly surrounded by smoke from the burning incense from his sensor, and so he's just stalking in and out of the smoke, taking shots at, like, key targets. I think I will, to be honest. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint them like red, and I'll make the yellow shine look like pupils, and they're going to go in 2 different directions. I think that's the plan. But one that I really want to do, like, justice is this Celestine. This is my wife's Celestine model that she never got around to painting, and she gave me permission to do so. But this is way too cool a model, so I've got to do a good job on it. Though, you know, I don't know what Wizards was thinking by putting her on these flimsy, you know, parchments, but it was a bad idea. And the only good thing about it is that when she get angry, you can just kind of... which is funny. But beyond that, this is terrible. Okay. That being said, I think I'm done with the stream for now. I've gotten him to a point where I'm happy to look at him. And anything else, I feel like I want to touch him up off screen so I can really focus in on it and try and make him look a little bit better. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and head out. I think my wife is done with her D&D game, which means I want to hang out with her. So, thank you guys for joining me. I'm glad you did too. It was good to see you again. I've tried to stream more just because it helps me focus, and it's a lot of fun talking to you guys. But it's just been like the last few weeks have been really difficult in terms of just getting work done. No problem. I'm glad to help. That's like the big reason why I do stream is to give people advice if they need it. Yeah, but yeah, that's also what the Discord is for. So if you ever have any questions on how to do things, like just painting wise, just please ask. You were going to stream, but you didn't wake up until 1 p.m., which is weird. Understandable. I can't sleep in past 6. My body won't let me. I actually woke up at 1 a.m. Today because my dog was moving around, and normally he usually starts doing that at around 5 o'clock, and when that happens, I kind of give him the foam stairs so he can get up onto the bed with us. But it was 1 a.m., and so I did not sleep well. But that's okay. Okay, actually, let's see if there's anyone... Is there anyone worth dropping you off at? Oh, Isidore's on. He's someone that I follow, and he's been here a couple times, so I'm gonna go ahead and send y'all to Isidore. He's a nice guy. So, /raid. There we go. I think that's right. Did I get it right? Oops, I did not get it right. Cancel the raid. Cancel the raid. That's the wrong Isidore. /raid. /raid Isidore 27. There we go. Okie dokie. So thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate you being here, and have a good rest of your evening. Bye-bye.